Hi, I'm Gary Zacharias. This is our fifth video. We've done three on the paragraph, having a good topic sentence, having plenty of support, having a good wrap-up sentence. We introduced the idea of essay writing last time. An essay is just taking a bunch of these paragraphs and putting them together on a particular topic, again, to prove some kind of point that you want to in your opening paragraph. And so we talked about the opener last time in an essay, having some way to get going, and then the last sentence being your thesis, which is the promise you're making with the reader, saying this is what I would like to accomplish. So how about this time we now take a look at how you do the proving. This will be your support. These will be your what are called body paragraphs, and each body paragraph will be a part of your proof. So it may be 5 paragraphs long, it may be 10, 15, it just depends how much you want to prove, how much information you have. So again, I'm using the textbook that you can get. Just email me, I'll send you a PDF for free. And I'm on page 10, so we're taking a look now at the body paragraphs. So they ought to have, obviously, all the characteristics we've already talked about. Topic sentence, support, and a concluding sentence. Fine. Now, you've got something a little bit new here that you have to think about, and that is take your body paragraphs and put them in the best order possible. So it's not just a single paragraph. Now you're putting 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or however many together. They ought to be in some kind of logical, marching through some kind of sequence. And there are 3 ways that most people will organize their papers. One is order of time, which is pretty obvious. If you're going to tell us how something is accomplished, you could say first you do this, then you do this, then you do that. If you're going to tell something about a period of your life, let's say 10th grade, you know, it's the beginning of the school year, the middle of the school year, and then toward the end of the school year. That's pretty obvious. You can also organize by space or geography, whatever you want to call it. So for example, in a history class, you want to talk about the growth of the United States, you're probably going to start with the East Coast, moving toward the West Coast. You want to describe your room, you might want to start from the door, moving toward the far wall, or move from one side of the room to the other side of the room. You won't do too many papers like that. Here's the last type of organizing that you'll do, and this is the most common. It's called order of importance. So that means you'll start with something it's good, but you're going to build up, build up, build up, and then let the reader have the best at the end, because the reader shuts your paper, and that's the last thing in that person's mind. Wow, that was really a nice conclusion. So generally you build up, okay, just like a fireworks show. You ever go to a fireworks show? They put on pretty good fireworks at the beginning, but at the end they go crazy. The fireworks are just blowing up all over the place. So they never go bam, 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 pop. That's not the way they do a fireworks show. It's the pop, and then finally all of them go off at once. So the same thing is going to apply here. So let's take a look. I've got the textbook here full of some sample essays. And I want you to see how those body paragraphs look when they're set up here. So let's go to page 11. This is a very simple essay called College Survival Skills. And notice my body paragraphs. I have 3 of them there. Do you see them on page 11? What do you notice about the last body paragraph toward the bottom of the page? Is it longer or shorter than the others? It's longer. Why is that? It's not an accident. Look at my body paragraph topic sentence for that last one. The most important thing. So you know that I'm building up, and I'm saying, here's the best skill. Here's the most important skill that you can do. So let me finish the sentence. The most important thing for successful students is to realize support is available for them. So I'm saying if you want to succeed in school, and that's what it says, successful students, what is it in this paragraph it's going to cover? It's going to cover support. So I'm doing 3 things, and you're going to see that over and over again in my topic sentences. For my body paragraphs, I want to have some kind of clue word that lets people know why they're in the order they're in. That's called usually a transition. I want to put the reminder of what the whole paper is about, a reminder of the thesis, and I want to give people the direction for this particular paragraph. Okay, let me take you over to, we don't have a ton of time. Let's do the one on page 14. This is called 4 Cardinal Virtues. So I'm looking at a book by C.S. Lewis. I'm looking now at a chapter of that book, and I'm saying that there were virtues that Lewis covered that are still applicable today. So look at my topic sentence of the first body paragraph, bottom of 14. The first virtue Lewis refers to is prudence. Now that's a pretty deceptively short sentence, but I've got a lot of going on in that sentence. Do you see the word first? That's my transition. I'm telling you, I will have more ideas, but here's the first one. And then I said, Lewis. Why am I mentioning Lewis? Because he's my thesis. He's in my thesis. The whole thing's about Lewis. And now, what is going to be the direction for this paragraph? One word, and it's at the end of the sentence. Do you see it? Prudence. So 3 things are going on. Even though it's a very short sentence, I have a transition, I have a reminder of my thesis, and I have a direction for this paragraph. Look at page 15. Let's keep going. The second virtue has to do with temperance. Can you see all 3 things going on there again? The second, that's my transition. Virtue is a reminder of the thesis. And what's this paragraph on? Temperance. Right, good. Let's go to the next body paragraph. Justice was another virtue that Lewis referred to in his book. I've got all 3 things going on there, except I changed the order a little bit, didn't I? Where's my transition? Do you see it? Kind of hidden. It's the word another. Where's my reminder of my thesis? Lewis referred to in his book. Right? So that's what the whole paper was on. And what's this paragraph going to be about? Justice. It was the first word, not the last word. So it doesn't matter what order you put them in, but you want to have all 3 of those things in your topic sentences. And then notice, I haven't been talking about the support, but you notice each of these paragraphs is pretty substantial. It's got a lot of information there, and that's my support. Let's go to the bottom of the page, 15. The final cardinal virtue is fortitude. You should be able to find all 3 things going on in there as well. Okay, let me skip over that. Can we go to, let's go to 23, okay, just kind of moving along faster, but here's what I'd suggest. Go back and read all of my papers here, all of my articles, and see if you can begin distinguishing transitional words, see if you can see a reminder of the thesis, see if you can spot the direction that the paragraph's going to go, and then look at the support that I've given. I try to have examples, I try to have description, I try to have stories, I try to have facts. I'm doing all those things that we already talked about with good paragraphs. Alright, so I'm on page 23. This is an article called The Bible Beyond Theology. When I was a full-time teacher out at Palomar, I'm now adjunct, teaching part-time. When I was a full-timer, I was lucky enough to be able to teach the Bible as literature. And I taught that for years. I loved it. The Bible is an amazing book. A lot of people say, I don't want to read the Bible, too much theology. All it's going to do is preach at me. And it doesn't. That's a misconception. The Bible's not a book full of preaching. It's got value beyond theology. That's why I called it The Bible Beyond Theology. So forget whether you believe anything. You should read the Bible. You need to read the Bible if you consider yourself part of our Western world. You need to read the Bible if you want to consider yourself educated. The Bible is a key book. So much is in there that's of value that you don't even need the theology. So that's what I'm trying to do, convince you of the value of the Bible beyond its theological. Of course it has all sorts of theological implications, but for now let's just look at it as something beyond theology. So here I am in my first body paragraph, bottom of 23. For one thing, the Bible is simply full of good reading. Do you see all 3 things going on there? Where's my transition? For one thing, what was the point of the entire paper? What's it on? The Bible. What's this paragraph going to cover? Yeah, you got it. Good reading. And now, what do I have to do? I have to fill the paragraph with examples of what I mean good reading. So I tell about stories. I tell about poetry. I tell about proverbs. I tell about parables and all these other things that the Bible has. Let's go to page 24. Here's my second body paragraph. In addition, people should look at the Bible for its worldly wisdom. Do you see all 3 things there again? Do you notice the transitions usually start the paragraph? In addition, meaning here's the second point. Then I went to read the Bible, look at the Bible. That's the whole paper's point. Then I went to why read the Bible now? Wisdom. So what do I have to do? I have to give examples of wisdom. And I do. It's all from Proverbs. So I'm trying to fill it up with a lot of good support. Let's go to the next body paragraph. A third value of the Bible beyond theology is the way it's provided literary inspirations. So do you notice again all three things? I hope so. Where's my transition? Third, what's the point of this whole paper? The power of the Bible beyond theology. What's the point of this paragraph? How it's created literary inspirations for dozens of authors. So what do you think I would have to do to fill this paragraph up? I better have a lot of actual authors who have used the Bible for some of their stories. And I do. I've got people like Herman Melville. I've got Hemingway, Steinbeck, Dante, Shakespeare, and on and on and on. All these people use the Bible. So if you're ever reading, for example, John Steinbeck, he's got a book called East of Eden. He's got Eden right in the title. Hemingway has reference to Ecclesiastes. And Dante, of course, spent his whole thing talking biblical stuff there. So that's what I'm doing with that paragraph. Let's go to the next one. The Bible has also been valuable because of what it's done for our language. What's the point of this paragraph? Language. What's the point of the whole paper? The value of the Bible. How do you know we're on a new point? I use the word also. And I better have a bunch of examples now of language. And I do. I have sentences and I have phrases. I have single words that have come about because of the Bible. And now I'm at the bottom of the page, 24. How do you know I've built this thing up? Look at my topic sentence. Probably the most important reason the Bible has great value to all of us in America is the fact that it's the cornerstone book of Western civilization. So do you notice I have built up, built up, built up. Now I said the most important reason. And then I mentioned the Bible. Then I mentioned what? What's going to be the focus of this one? The Bible is the cornerstone book of the Western world. And I better prove it. I do. I go ahead to try to prove that. Okay, well, this was a fast tour, but again, I'd suggest go back and look at some of these body paragraphs. So the body paragraph is to prove whatever your thesis says, and you prove it by having a good topic sentence. Try to have a thesis, try to have a reminder of the whole paper, a transition, and have the direction that you're going to go for this paragraph, and then have plenty of support. Right? And if you do that, you'll pull off some really nice body paragraphs. So this was number 5. The next time we're going to take a look at how you wrap up a good piece of writing, an essay. A lot of people struggle with the beginnings and they struggle with the endings. So I'm going to give you some clues, some ideas to be able to pull these ideas together at the end and have a nice, neat conclusion. So that'll be number 6, video 6. So thanks again for watching, and see you next time.